So Miko Marks, the Miko Marks is here. I'm so excited. My goodness. So last time I saw you was at your house, which we're selling and in contract with. So congratulations.
Thank you.
What has gone on with you like since then? I just feel like I can't keep up with you.
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me here. It's truly an honor and a pleasure to talk to you today. And I'm so lucky to have you selling my house because we're in contract, like you said, so that's great. I've just been up to just continuing to do music, putting out new music. Our country just came out last year, just released Feel Like Going Home. So just moving.
Feel Like Coming Home. That you just showed me the billboard.
Yes, in Times Square.
In Times Square. Amazing,
yes.
Amazing.
Yes.
What does that mean? Like, how did someone from, was it Flint, Michigan?
Yes.
End up in the Bay Area as a African-American female country music star, and now just hot off the heels of the Country Music Awards a few weeks ago, and now in Times Square. Like, how did it all start?
Well, it all started in a little town called Grambling, Louisiana, where I met my husband, who was from California. He was from native San Franciscan, and so I married him, and that's how I got out here to California.
I see. And you were still doing country back then? Like,
yes. That's when I first started writing my own songs and really getting my style honed into what I wanted to do, because I'm a storyteller. That's why I chose country music as a genre, because I like telling stories. I was raised up on it, and
can I ask you a personal question?
Sure.
So if I were you and some 60-year-old man invites me to move to San Francisco, but I'm a country music singer, would you feel like you're betraying your roots, or you thought, oh, this is going to be a great way to kind of explore new avenues? Like, what was your reaction to going to San Francisco, which is not country?
Well, I was curious, and I was like big city, wide-eyed, young at the time. You know, I was 19 when I met my husband, so
just a baby.
Yeah, so it was like a new world for me, and I hadn't seen much of the world already, so it was intriguing to come to a place like San Francisco.
So was it welcoming, or did you feel out of touch here? Because the country is not just a thing here, you know?
I was out of touch. I was out of touch. I had my first job in the financial district, and I was walking down the street so slowly, people were just bumping into me because they were on the move. And I was speaking to everybody that I made eye contact with. I'm like, hi, how you doing? How's it going? And they were just like, shh. Straight, you know, so I had to get I had to get moving, and I had to keep my eyes low.
Jeez.
Yeah,
oof.
that's the truth.
But you adjusted, because you stayed here for a long time, so clearly it couldn't have been that traumatic for you.
I did adjust. I had got on some hills in my clutch car. You know, I had a stick shift when I came out here. I was going up California Street, and I was at a stop sign. I was so scared I was going to roll back. I was so... So I got over that and realized I'm not going to roll back. Just keep going. You know,
that's a metaphor for life.
Yeah,
that should be a lyric, honestly.
Exactly. Exactly.
So when you're here, though, I mean, you were kind of in this FIDI district, and it's urban life. Like, how did you keep your foot into music still, and country music? Like, what was that like?
Well, it was my husband. I worked in the financial district at a huge law firm, and he said, you need to quit your job and you need to do music full time.
Kids, follow your dreams, right?
Yeah. So that's what happened to me in 2003. He was like, stop working, let's do music. And we made a demo over in Berkeley at Fantasy Studios, and from there, everything started to really unfold.
Yeah, you released a couple of albums, actually, and they were received well, critically, correct?
Yes, Freeway Bound and It Feels Good.
Right.
Those were in the early 2000s,
yes. And as a Black country music singer, I mean, what was the reaction to that? Because that was like a generation ago. Like,
it's been hard. To be quite frank, it's been very hard.
Say it, girl. So what happened?
Well, I went to Nashville and I recorded both albums, and the music was received very well, but I wasn't received very well. I met with huge labels down there who I won't name, but they were just
don't
like,
cancel us, right?
You just won't sell. The music is great, but we don't know how to sell you.
Wow.
And I took that as meaning, you know, being a Black country music artist won't sell. But fast forward to 2022, which we are in now, things are moving greatly, and I'm glad I stayed true to the game.
Yeah, you never gave up.
No.
Jeez. I mean, so what would you tell someone who's starting a career? My question, if I'm a country music aspiring young artist, do I have to be in Nashville to get this career? Because you've been here for 20 something, almost 20 years.
Yeah, almost
and you were
20
able
years.
to essentially still court Nashville, meet with record labels, record something. And, you just came from the Country Music Awards, and you obviously are still in that world.
Yes.
Is it a function of being in a digital world now?
I think social media has really broadened the bandwidth for people to see and experience different talent. So I would say social media definitely played a part in me reaching more people.
Really?
And Nashville has been awesome to me.
Now,
CMT has been really great, and I've partnered with an organization called Equal Play, which really highlights people of color, minorities, marginalized artists to help give them a bigger platform. So that's been awesome as well.
So important. Gosh, these things didn't even exist even 20 years ago,
No.
right?
No.
I wonder what happened.
I think we had MySpace.
Yeah, okay, exactly. Right, or Tumblr or something, one of those, or Friendster or something like that. We're dating ourselves.
Yes,
Oh my
yes,
gosh.
yes.
So what would you tell someone who was young and kind of maybe, if you had a 19-year-old niece who wanted to be a country music star living in not Nashville, you would just tell her what?
Well, I actually have a 26-year-old son who just got off tour with Billie Eilish. I would say keep going. I gave him one video game when he was a little kid. It was Guitar Hero. He couldn't play anything else.
Wow.
And then when he beat that game, I gave him a real guitar. And now he's on the biggest tour ever. He's going out with Justin Bieber next year in 2023. So I would tell the person the same thing I told my son: don't give up. Keep going.
So despite your circumstances or even geography, you can still reach different people and chase your dreams, especially with social media. That's crazy. I mean,
Absolutely.
Jay
Jayhawk.
Yes, go plug right there, right?
Yeah, Jayhawk, the Ghetto Kids, go follow them.
Yeah, he was raised and born in the Bay, Oakland. So dreams really do come true to a certain degree.
He moved to California when he was 1 month old.
Oh,
he was born in
gosh.
Louisiana,
Wow.
and then we came out here. My husband was a San Francisco firefighter, and we just built a life out here from the ground up.
You're really ahead of the whole cultural zeitgeist, because what you're talking about is you don't have to be centrally located in a certain area. Because what COVID showed us was you could work from home. You could be doing your Salesforce job in Thailand. I mean, you essentially just showed that you can have a musical career outside of what is a traditional mecca of
Absolutely.
country music, and you did it even before social media, which is insane.
Absolutely, it's possible. I mean, you can do, basically, if you stay focused on something and it's your goal to reach that marker, you can do it. It's just a time. What time do you have to put into it? And I just chose to put my whole life into it.
Yeah.
And I'm not done.
Woo, oh my God, you're just getting started. Now, what about your contemporaries who you came here when you were younger, as artists? How were they able to be here? Because you said you were married to, a firefighter. I'm sure you had a dual income to a certain degree. What about your other artists, compadres? Whatever happened to them? Were they able to?
I have a really good friend. Her name's Reese Palmer, and she works for Apple Music now. And we were contemporaries at the time, early 2000s. She is really soaring. She has a whole show podcast on Color Me Country on Apple, and raising 2 daughters and husband, and she's in South Carolina. So it does not matter where you are.
Yeah.
It's what you do with what you have. And we have a lot today.
I love that, because you know what? The reason about being in San Francisco as an artist, as I'm sure you know, it is extremely expensive to live here. And as an artist, how do you focus on paying your rent while you're trying to be an artist? But if you're telling me people in your sphere could just live elsewhere, lower cost of living, and still pursue their art, is that true?
That's true, and a lot of people are leaving the Bay Area because of this truth. There's over 40,000 homes that are just empty in San Francisco. Nobody's living in them, and people are being marginalized, kicked out, pushed into the suburbs, all the things. I just so happen to still be able to live here, but I'm definitely looking at moving elsewhere and making my money go longer, because the market out here is just unsustainable for the middle class, and it's just not even attainable.
Yeah, I mean, as a native here, I feel the middle class has been kind of cratered. The city of San Francisco, it's all your ultra high net worth, or you're on the struggle bus, like everyone in the middle has kind of just either left or been forced out to a certain degree. And
They can't
even like
afford
in
it.
terms of, yeah, I can't afford it. And that's changed the culture too, because there was a vibrant art scene, even in the 90s. I mean, like the rave culture, the club culture, there was a way you could still be an artist here or in that space. And now I don't really know if that's possible. I mean, people say, oh, just commute to, but that's like an hour or 2 hours plus the back and forth time. Like, how does someone do that?
Well, the label that I work with, it's called Red Tone Records, and it's out of East Palo Alto.
Bay
and
Area.
their mission is to really bring the arts back, like work with tech to incorporate arts and have artist housing and make it more appealing to artists and make it more affordable for them to be in the Bay Area. And it takes labels like that, businesses like that, nonprofits like that to make and to get tech to join in with them and create a space to keep arts alive, because it's dying in the Bay Area.
Yeah.
It's pretty much dying. And
Yeah,
so
there's no scene here really. Even like traditional artists, like gallery artists, that doesn't really, it's just not that scene is gone completely.
yeah,
So,
and what are you going to have if you don't cultivate the arts in some way, shape, or form? You will have a bunch of robots walking around. We need flavor. We need culture. We need to rebuild, invest in our youth with music and like you said, even arts, just paints and things like that. We need to cultivate the arts in a way that the Bay Area is letting it die. We need to stop.
so where are you going to go then? Where's the next place that's going to cultivate you?
I'm traveling a lot. I'll be going to London for the Long Road Fest this summer. I'm going on tour next week, South Carolina, Atlanta, and just doing a bunch of things. And I was really fortunate to get on tour with Paula Cole for...
Paula Cole.
Yes, which is amazing. I'm going to Canada for the first time, so that'll be
nice.
pretty cool. So just working but enjoying life at the same time, and also kind of really looking at what I actually need versus what I want.
Right. Right. Do you feel that's a kind of a cultural thing in San Francisco, the Bay Area? It's like a go acquisition, bigger, better.
Bigger, better, and I'm like, no, slow it down, enjoy, and just kind of be sustainable for myself. And hopefully the Bay Area will get on board and see that you can't just have it for one people, like the millionaires and the billionaires. You have to like incorporate everyone in order to have a rich culture.
Yeah. I know diversity is the key, right?
Yes.
It does feel a little monotonous
Yes.
sometimes here. And hopefully, with all your efforts and out there just kind of on the forefront, galvanizing artists and minorities out there to kind of just like make a stand. I feel like no one really wants to say that either. They just kind of like put their head in the sand and move on. But I love the fact that you actually make it a platform.
Right.
Like, I mean, have you gotten pushback? Because people say, is this too political? Why are you talking about this as an artist? Like, do you ever feel any...
I've actually gotten a lot of really good reception about, because my last album was called Our Country. Like, it's not just yours, it doesn't just belong to me, it's all of us, it's a community. And if we don't learn to work together and be inclusive, then we're gonna die of our own device.
And although we're kind of like on the not the brightest path in San Francisco for some perceptions, what you're talking about, this egalitarian diversity aspect, actually is the legacy of San Francisco.
Yes.
Like, you wouldn't have been able to do that in Nashville, because that was actually what happened. Because when you went to Nashville, you were treated a certain way.
Yes.
Back in the day, and maybe that's why being here allowed you to be where you are now. Because if you had like actually moved to Nashville, I don't know if you'd have the career you have now. Is that a fair statement?
I think everything happens for a reason, and my season, I had to grow into it, and so I'm a lot more wise now, and I've experienced life a little bit more. So at this point, I think that I'm ready for the challenges that I'm facing. And I have to say, I'm actually being greeted with more love and kindness and acceptance than 20 years ago.
Yes.
But everything comes in time, and
Right.
it's just my time right now.
Oh my gosh, yes. Seize it. Seize the moment.
Exactly.